one of the little things that I do with all my web orders is I send a coupon code.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, episode number 76. This is Tracy Matthews, your host and the Chief Visionary Officer over at Flourish and Thrive Academy. And today I have a super fun episode in store. Today, I've decided to do something a little bit different, and I'm interviewing a Flourish and Thrive member named Nicole Gariepy, who owns a really amazing jewelry company called Fantasy Jewelry. And I wanted to share her story because she made some very significant changes over the past year to follow her passion. Now, she's been in the jewelry industry for most of her adult life. She's worked in jewelry, designed jewelry, made jewelry, sold jewelry, all sorts of things. And she decided to quit her day job last year and go full bore on her jewelry business. And she's made some incredible strides that I really, really want to share with you. And I'm so excited for this interview today. Nicole is a graduate of our Laying the Foundation program and is also a member of our Diamond Insiders Club. So we've had the opportunity to really watch and observe some of the changes, some of the challenges, and some of the growth that she's experienced over this last year, I should say. So I'm excited to share that with you today. But before I jump into the interview and share a little bit more about Nicole's story and some of these marketing strategies that she's going to share and how she's really sort of honed in on her sort of zone of genius with marketing and sales, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about a live masterclass that we have coming up tomorrow on January 18th. It's called How to Create an Unforgettable Jewelry Brand in 2017. In this masterclass, Robin and I are going to share the fast and simple blueprint to attract the right clients, double your sales, and work less this year. And the cool thing is that some of the things that Nicole is sharing were results of going through this process of how to create an unforgettable brand that we taught her. So I'm really excited for this masterclass. It's one of the best that we've ever developed. It's completely free, and I hope you will join us. You can still sign up. There's a few spaces left by going over to flourishthriveacademy.com/unforgettable brand. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/unforgettable brand. We'll also have the links on the show notes, so no worries if you didn't catch that. Just head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 76. And all the links that we talk about in this episode will be right there. So I hope you're going to join us for how to create an unforgettable brand in 2017. Looking forward to getting to know you all better, and let's dive right into the interview. All right, today I'm very excited because I have a special guest on the show, Nicole Gariepy of Fantasy Jewelry, and she is one of our Flourish and Thrive Academy members, and I'm really excited to have you here today, Nicole.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks so much. I'm even more excited because you're going to share a little bit with us about your journey over the last year plus or so in sort of changing directions in your jewelry business, growing your brand, and making a lot of changes for the better, I would say. And I'm excited for you to share your story. And I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of to start out, I've been in the jewelry business for a long time. And, I've always worked in retail. And about a year ago, I made the decision to really change direction with my business. And a year later, it's really the best decision I've made.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing that. So I want to dive in. I don't want to wait anymore. So let me just do a real quick traditional or formal intro of you, and then we'll dive right into some of the questions because I want to definitely hear about your journey. So Nicole is a jewelry designer and the owner of Fantasy Jewelry and Elements by Fantasy. A jewelry business lifer, she began her career as a retail manager and jewelry buyer, eventually running her own retail jewelry shop. Nicole holds diplomas from the Gemological Institute of America and decided in 2016 to leave retail and go in a new direction with her business. So I am sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to hear a little bit more about your transition and how things have grown, and just a little brief background about what I've been observing this year. Every year we get new students into Flourish and Thrive Academy, either as members of our Diamond Insiders Club, as members of our mastermind program, or they come through our courses like Laying the Foundation. And, we get to really watch them and observe them grow and change and evolve as a brand. And Nicole really stood out as a shining example because she went through, some ups and downs this year and really evolved at the end of the year to have one of her busiest holiday seasons yet, and really ended up reinventing herself. So Nicole, thanks again for being here. So with that being said, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about your journey into the jewelry industry and what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, well, that's a great intro. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So jewelry, I started working in the jewelry business when I was in high school, and I really just fell in love with it and learned what a really exciting career it could be. I started actually making jewelry, doing beadwork, and apprenticing a little bit with some of the jewelers at the store I was working at. And then I learned a little bit about gemstones, and I was just so fascinated by the world of gems. I just wanted to know more. And that's when I started taking the GIA courses. So I ended up moving on to where in my early 20s, I was running a retail shop. I was working as a buyer, and eventually I did have my own store. And that was great. I did really well, but I tried to do everything on my own, and I got really burnt out and decided to close my store in 2009. Kind of had a little bit to do with the economy, but more so it was just too much for one person, and I refused to ask for help.
Yeah. That's interesting. A lot of people refuse to ask for help, including myself at one point.
Yeah. Now I realize how important that is if you want to grow, really grow and scale your business. So I actually then took a break from working in jewelry for a while and went back in 2010. I took another retail management job, and that's the job I left in January 2016.
Amazing.
Which was, coincidentally right when we were about to start the Laying the Foundation course. So that was really excellent timing.
Perfect timing. And why did you end up leaving that job?
It was a small local retail store, and it was a family-owned business. So I didn't really have a lot of growth potential. Okay. I really, it was a great business, and I had a lot of good years there. But I knew that I always wanted to go into working for myself again, and there was only so much growth I could have.
Exactly. Okay, that's good. So you had the opportunity to take a risk, so to speak, and branch out on your own again and build your own business. And you took the leap at the beginning of the year last year. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about Fantasy and Elements by Fantasy.
Well, Fantasy jewelry, I live in the Caribbean. I live in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So Fantasy jewelry, as the name suggests, is very ocean-inspired. I use a lot of natural blue gemstones and a lot of metal work that's kind of inspired by the ocean and the movement of the water. A lot of designs that just celebrate the beauty of the Caribbean islands. And my new line, which is Elements by Fantasy, that's really just that's what my custom jewelry business has evolved into.
I love that.
So they kind of work together because I've lived here for a long time, and I've always wanted to create jewelry that really reflects the beauty of the place I live.
And it does. You guys should go check out her website. She has really, really beautiful pieces on there that are so ocean inspired, I would say, like the colors and everything, and the lines. I would say even the design, like the lines and everything. It's really beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. So I've really had the pleasure of watching you. I mean, I've seen you, you're a member of our Diamond Insiders Club, and I've seen you, posting your successes and some of your challenges. And I've really had the opportunity to watch your business grow and evolve. You've made some huge life decisions. You closed your business this last year, and you decided to kind of start over and rebrand. So tell me a little bit more about how that business evolution came about and how you're tying that into sort of your vision for the future. Because not only did you leave your job, but you closed one of your businesses down this year.
Yeah, it was kind of figuring out the direction to go was a little challenging because I did have, I had this one jewelry line that, fantasy jewelry is almost like my everyday line. Then I had a lot of other business from custom work. And I wanted to make the two businesses kind of work together so it was manageable. But I recognized that, my market and my ideal client for both brands was very different. So it didn't make sense to just lump them all into one business. So making the decision to keep both of them kind of separate just allowed me to kind of go in the direction both needed to go, even though they're not really the same direction. I don't know if that was clear.
Yes. I'll reiterate it for, everyone. If basically you have two businesses, they cater to two different ideal clients, and you wanted to make them two distinct brands because they really are attracting different people. And
Right.
you were having a difficulty kind of keeping the marketing and everything going when you're trying to blend it with the same business. So you decided to sort of split them off so that you could focus on growing them each individually so that you could focus on the correct, as we call it over here, like dream client avatar to help really build your brand.
Yep. That's absolutely it.
Awesome. So you told me before the interview that most of your sales come from online. And I know that a lot of designers and makers would truly like to build businesses that are like primarily online and generating a lot of traffic and sales. So what are some of the strategies and tactics that you're using to grow your online business right now?
Honestly, one of the most important things for me is being really consistent. I get a lot of inquiries, a lot of people asking questions or inquiring, sometimes it's about custom work, but just really like being really quick to get back to customers and answer any questions that they have has just been huge. I get a lot of responses from the customers saying, thank you for getting back to me so quickly. And with technology the way it is today, it's really to stay on top of things like that. So that's really just kind of a basic thing, not as much a strategy or tactic. But to drive traffic to my website, my biggest thing is Facebook. I do have a pretty engaged following on Facebook. And as much as I don't like to always be marketing on my personal Facebook, my friends and family and their referrals are really big for me. So, maybe once a month I'll share something that I've posted on my business page or ask questions about what people are liking that I'm making. And that really creates a lot of excitement, and I get tons of shares and a lot of business that way.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because I think this is a really interesting strategy, and it's something that I'm behind too, because I am right there with you. Like, one of the things that I teach for people to grow an online business is don't discount your friends and family. And it's like a huge, foundation of something that we teach in laying the foundation. That sounds a little repetitive, the foundation of laying the foundation. But, one of the things that I really used to grow my businesses, whether it was the first business that I started in 1998, whether it be my custom jewelry business now, or even, in the beginning, Flourish and Thrive Academy, when I just knew a couple of jewelry designers who might needed some help. The way that we spread the word about it is through friends and family. So even today, a lot of my business comes from referrals and then referrals and then referrals. And if you dial that back, it starts with the friends and family. So tell me a little bit about how that's working for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I really, over the course of the year, I've tried to be really consistent with my social media, and I wasn't always seeing direct results from it.
Okay.
But come the holiday season, when I do post on Facebook, I do get a lot of shares on my jewelry pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So come holiday season, a lot of people were contacting me saying, my wife saw this, can I get this? And things I had posted back in August. So that's really huge. And I actually think I learned this trick from somebody else in the Diamond Insiders Club. People were tagging their significant others in some of my posts. Great. And so I went ahead and followed up with some of those and turned those into some sales.
It's all about, what I love so much is that this is all about the sharing economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting people to share your work, getting word of mouth. And I love your consistency and your follow through, because that is what building a business is all about. You can't just put something out there and expect people to come and not follow up and be passive about your business. You have to be engaged.
Absolutely. It's not set it and forget it.
It's not set it and forget it. Oh, I like that. It's not set it and forget it. So are there any other things that you want to share that you're doing that are working really well right now?
Well, one of the little things that I do with all my web orders is I send a coupon code. And I know, discounting, there's a lot of different thoughts on that. And I agree that you don't want to train your buyers to be waiting for discounts or sales. I send a 10% coupon code in every order that I ship out. And that has actually got me, it's 10%'s not huge. And I can afford that with the way my pricing is. So it seemed like such a little thing, but since I started doing it, I've been getting a lot of repeat business and really building a list of a lot of people that come back to me again and again.
Okay. Let's repeat that again.
Okay.
You're getting a ton of repeat business. and a lot of people that are coming back to you again. Oh my God, I love that you're saying this. Because the easiest way to build a business is by the people who have already purchased from you, engaging them again. Because 80% of your sales come from 20% of the people on your list or in your audience or in your sort of vortex or whatever you want to call it. That's a great strategy. I love it.
And so not only, sending the coupon code, I acknowledge when somebody comes back and purchases again. I either write a personal email or a personal note thanking them for purchasing again and, say something about the last thing that they purchased so they know it's not just a generic scripted message.
I love that. So you include a personalized note so that they know that you're really paying attention. And you know what that does? It really builds, I don't know if you've experienced this, but in my experience, I feel like what it really does is it builds trust with the customers.
Oh, absolutely does. Yeah.
And it makes them remember you.
Yeah, I really do. I have a lot of people that come back to me time after time just from this little trick.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Okay, so that was such a great strategy for you to put the discount code in there, and it's also just part of this idea of the sharing economy. So getting people to share what you're doing, that ends up getting referrals from friends and family, and then getting those people back to buy again. So a lot of times we try things and they don't work, right? And then a lot of times we try things and they work really well. So how are you identifying which marketing strategies are going to work or not work? And how do you actually test that?
For me, it's really just a lot of trial and error. But when I do something new, I make notes about it. I took Melissa Camilleri's Instagram course, and awesome. I really wanted Instagram to be my thing because, it's still free for the most part. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't where my ideal clients were looking for jewelry, and they just weren't on Instagram, to be very honest. So I had to get realistic and say, no, Facebook is really more of my thing, and put my energy there. I've been learning a little bit more about Facebook ads and campaigns, and I'm still really new to that. So that's where I'm trying things and targeting different groups, and that's a lot of trial and error right now because I haven't completely figured that out.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because that's a whole nother strategy in and of itself, creating a retargeting campaign and then creating a separate Facebook ads funnel. That's a whole bigger thing. But it's great that you're testing it now because it'll be interesting to see once you sort of crack the code how that works. And I love what you said. Some people have a lot of followers on Instagram and some people don't. I think this is a really important lesson. And I loved how you evaluated it. You could do the most amazing things on a certain platform or try a strategy that's working really well for someone else. But it might not be where your ideal clients are hanging out. And I think a lot of time people just feel oh, well, no one wants to buy my jewelry because, I posted a few things on Instagram and no one bought from Instagram. And they're just oh, well, what am I, it doesn't work for me. And instead of looking at it objectively, okay, so Facebook works really well. Instagram for me doesn't work as well. So where do I want to focus my energy on? My friend Jen Kem says this all the time. It's test what works and double down, right? So you want to make sure that you're testing what works for your brand and then doubling down on that strategy. So you're not focusing on and spending your energy on stuff that doesn't work for your brand.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
So let's talk about the holiday season because as we're recording this, we're kind of wrapping it up.
Yes.
So the holiday season is such a crazy time. And you had a stroke of what some people might call pretty bad luck during this time. But you really pulled through it like a champ. I saw sort of some of your posts in the group when you were going through these struggles and just to watch your positive attitude. So tell us a little bit about what happened in November and how that affected your holiday sales and what you did to sort of recoup and stay positive.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have to say it was really nice to have, our Facebook groups to go to for support.
Yeah.
When we're solopreneurs, we kind of work alone a lot. So having that kind of sounding board was really big and helpful. But yeah, starting right at the beginning of November, I had a big order of my castings lost in the mail that I really needed. One of my benches was, I had to disassemble. It had termites and had to lose a whole production station. My computer crashed, which thankfully everything was backed up. A vintage ring that was being mailed to me was stolen out of the mail. I was summoned for jury duty. And the night before my first big holiday show, the power went out, which is a common island occurrence. And I still had like a ton of jewelry to do the final polish on for the next day. It's just one thing after another. I started to feel like I was just like I was cursed. But I really, I used to kind of feel like when something so-called bad would happen, it was like a sign that everything was, nothing was going to work out the way I wanted. And I realized that's a kind of a silly way to think. So I kept being focused on my goals. I said, this is the holiday season. I want to have great sales. What do I have to do to, deal with what I've been given and just make it happen anyway? I immediately, when I saw I wasn't going to get this casting order, I called the company. I said, listen, you need to just duplicate that order and rush it to me because I can't risk not having this for the rest of the holidays. Ordered my new bench, got all this. I just made stuff happen. It was not easy when you're kind of stuck in the thick of that. It just feels miserable, but I just kept focused on what needed to happen. We're in the busy season, and I know this is my time to make money. Just kind of put my nose to the grindstone and didn't give up.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was not easy. Once I even started talking about it and looking back, I was like, wow, that was really crazy. But I definitely did have to work harder. I had to work longer hours to make up for everything that I lost. A lot of my attention went from promoting my business to dealing with all of these kind of crises that were happening. So I worked a lot harder and a lot longer hours, but I didn't mind it because I really like my job. I like what I do. And I was determined to really make this an awesome holiday.
Well, so this is it. It's like positive energy, positive attitude, resourcefulness. You're a creative problem solver. I love the story that you talked about your caster. You're like, well, it's not coming. So just duplicate the order. Like, let me solve the problem instead of wallowing in the issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I love that. And what ended up happening is you end up having a great season.
Oh, it's fantastic. I couldn't believe I hit my sales goal. And, setting my goals it was not an exact science because I didn't have I wasn't totally dedicated to this business last year. Mm-hmm. But I thought I set a pretty lofty goal and I hit it even before Christmas.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I love that. And this is the power of goal setting and setting intentions and like knowing where you're going and getting all the pieces together. Because the truth is that anytime you decide and you make the choice to have your own business or be an entrepreneur or, design jewelry, whatever you want to call yourself, be a jewelry designer, you're going to encounter problems in business. It's never going to be completely peachy. I can honestly say to this day, sometimes I still have production issues, even though I have some kick-ass jewelers on my team. It's like I was waiting for a ring to come out for an entire week before it came out of casting, and it will be done the day before Christmas, which is not ideal. You want some time to be able to make sure that everything's right, but things happen, and it's more about the resourcefulness that you're exhibiting and the creative problem solving that gets you through. And on top of that, some of these things, I'm assuming, cost you a little bit of money. During this season, sounds like your computer crashed and you might have to get a new workbench. And hopefully those castings were insured, but there's financial repercussions to those things. But instead of focusing on the fact that you're losing money, you move forward and focus on hitting your goals, staying positive, and making it the best season ever. I love that attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. You are just so incredible. So what are some of the biggest changes that you've made in your business and life over the past year since you found Flourish and Thrive Academy and since you've taken our Laying the Foundation course?
Well, as far as business is concerned, the biggest, really the thing that really kind of hit me over the head when I was taking the Laying the Foundation course was the whole idea of having a dream client. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I didn't know before how important that was. I guess I thought it was something only marketers really needed to deal with. But once I did work the dream client work and I really got really clear on that, it just made so much sense. And I don't know how I was ever, trying to run a jewelry business without that information. In fact, knowing my dream client for fantasy jewelry just got a blogger to contact me for a feature. I didn't even reach out to them.
Amazing.
She just came to me and wanted to feature some of my jewelry. So that was amazing.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. And my first business mentor came from a corporate background, and he was a really great businessman, but his approach was a lot more about like mass marketing and the mass merchandising kind of approach. And that just never felt right to me. So I also really liked, kind of the whole part about finding your authentic voice in the course and, really going deep into your personal story and, what drives me, my passion, my inspiration, my desires, and how that translates into my work and my jewelry brand.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm getting the chills because this is something that, it like makes me so happy to hear you saying this, because these are huge breakthroughs that I had at one point in my career. And to see that this is really working very well for you is so important. And to see you putting yourself out there and, standing in your power in a way and understanding who you're marketing to and how that understanding makes everything so much easier, and how it makes it so much easier to even communicate who you stand for, what you are as a brand, why you're doing this, and like really tap that story of your brand into your personal story, and then use that to attract the right types of clients.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. I like that. I feel like we should sing that song. What is that song from? A whole new world.
From a cartoon, isn't it? A cartoon movie?
That's so funny. Maybe The Little Mermaid or something. I'm getting that off past my generation. But anyway, this has been so awesome. I want to ask you one more question. What are you the most excited about in 2017?
This was really hard because what I really want to say is I'm excited about continuing to grow my businesses, which I really am. I spent all the years I spent in management, I had so many design ideas. My head was full of, design ideas. My sketchbooks were full of sketches, and I just never was able to really bring all these things to fruition. So with my new business model, I'm able to spend so much more time working on design, and this is where I've always wanted to be. So I'm just really excited to bring out a lot of new designs in the new year.
That's amazing. And that's another thing that, I remember going through my business evolution and switching business models and, going through this like really dramatic, in my life, it was very dramatic, like closing of a business and starting over. What I love hearing is when people are in full alignment with what it is that lights them up, so that they're doing the things that they love the most and still making money doing it. And they're not just like scraping by. They're actually building successful businesses, doing what they love.
Yeah, it's a dream come true.
It's a dream come true. I love hearing that. Okay, Nicole, where can everyone find you? Why don't you give us your website and your Facebook or any social media you want to share?
Sure. So you can find me at fantasyjewelry.com. That's my main website. I'm at Fantasy Jewelry STX on Facebook, and at Fantasy Jewelry everywhere else. And this month, when the podcast goes live, elements.fantasyjewelry.com will be launching.
Amazing. And you spell fantasy, Fantasea.
That's correct. Thank you for clarifying that.
And we'll have all those links and everything in the show notes, so you guys can stalk Nicole and see how awesome she is. Nicole, thank you so much for being with me today. This was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Been a pleasure.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay. Thanks.
Wasn't that interview amazing? I just love hearing designers just kicking butt and taking names, especially when they have to go through some challenges, which we all do as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as creative people on this path to really live our passion. So first and foremost, thank you so much for listening today. Wasn't that a great episode? One of the things I love even more is that she took what she learned from us about really building a brand and growing it and put it into action. And I just want to leave you with these final words, that the difference between those of us who end up being successful and those of us who struggle is that, yes, there are a lot of marketing nuances and sales nuances that need to come into play. But it's really one's willingness to take action and move towards their dream and move towards their vision that makes a business a success. So thanks again for listening today. Make sure you check out Laying the Foundation, and make sure that you come to our free masterclass tomorrow, How to Create an Unforgettable Brand in 2017. It's really awesome. We're going to show you our fast and simple blueprint to help you attract the right clients, double your sales, and work a lot less this year. Trust me, you will not regret it. And you can check out everything over at flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 76. We'll have all the links for sign up and everything, and links for Nicole in the show notes. Thanks for listening today. This is Tracy Matthews signing off. Until next time.